Okay, fellas, it's always a great pleasure to have you. The Nigerian government has just kicked out BBC off the platform, suspended for 3 months for spreading fake news. Unacceptable. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. You are very much appreciated. Oh, it's always a great pleasure to talk to you, fellas. And I see you are coming to the party, and we appreciate that. Your first time, my name is Zack. I don't know who you are, but if you watch till the end of this video, we're certainly going to love each other, okay? So here we talk about Africa. We talk about issues we see on the land, the motherland. We talk about the diaspora. We talk about many things, okay? So you're the Caribbean, you're from America. If you want to know what's happening in the land, you are at the right place. Absolutely. You're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy ourselves. And I appreciate you, Yeah, so today we're talking about Niger. Here's Niger. Niger's here. Beautiful place, lovely people, but very hot. I always tell you this because, I've experienced most of these countries. And I can tell you, you're probably not going to survive Niger if you come for the very first time in Africa. Rather go to Kenya or South Africa or maybe Ghana. There's a bit of a wind from the ocean. You're going to feel good. But Niger is very hot, but the good are very good too. Anyway, so Niger has kicked out the BBC. You know what the BBC is. The BBC is the broadcaster from the United Kingdom. They talk about many things. Why have they kicked out the BBC? Because BBC has been spreading what Niger call fake news. Now, what exactly happened? The Niger government has suspended BBC for 3 months, accusing it of spreading fake news that could destabilize social peace and demoralize troops fighting jihadists. Now, what does that mean? It means BBC spread the news about jihadists unaliving soldiers in mass. Let me give you context. So Niger is this beautiful country that has been riddled by terrorism for quite some time, okay? There was a bit of a misunderstanding amongst the people, but then something drastic happened. The Nigerian government is very much sought for by many countries in Europe, specifically France, that used to control Niger for many, many years. They colonized Niger as well as all these French-speaking countries. Now, it came a time you need to have leverage over these countries. So let's create problems so we can offer solutions to these Africans. You know what I mean? Let's sponsor these criminals so they can create mayhem, then we can offer a solution against the criminals. That's exactly what happened as per many experts. So France was stationed in many of these African countries looking to provide service. What service? We're going to chase these terror people for you. You got me? Yeah. That was the plan. Until these 3 guys came along. This is the president of Niger, this one is the president of Burkina Faso, and this one of Mali. These are brand new presidents. They came into power not through elections. They came through power. They kicked away the previous president. Why did they do that? They did that because the previous presidents were still cooperating and working for the interest of Europe and not of the people of Africa. Now, these 3 presidents are revolutionary. They have come to change things around for good. So they are not liked very much. As you can understand, when you have French government sending soldiers in your country to fight terrorists for a long time, but 10 years later, these terrorist groups are still in the country and strong and healthy. Do you continue using them? I mean, like I always say most of the time, if you go to a doctor because you have a stomach hurt and the doctor gives you tablets and you drink tablets for 3-4 days, you still have issues. Are you still going to go to the same doctor? No, you're going to go look for another doctor. That is exactly what the 3 countries did. They turned away from France and went to Russia looking for help because they feel like they can trust Russia much better. Why would they trust Russia? Because, during colonialism, when Europeans came to Africa to steal, Russia never came to Africa to steal. So if you want to know what somebody would do to you in the future, you most likely need to look back in the past, in what they have done in the past. Anyway, let's get back on track. Now, the BBC, TV24, TFA, and all these other, they work for European countries. They come to Africa, they spread the news. As you would know, the news is usually oriented toward one interest. And obviously, when you kick out French soldiers of your land, the French news outlet is not going to praise you for doing that because they are most likely working for the interest of France. They're going to say you've lost your mind by kicking our people away because your people will not be able to defend themselves against these dangerous people. As this has progressed and Niger is trying to fight back and get back its country, same for Mali and Burkina Faso, a situation happened where BBC spread the news saying that a group of people that are not nice unalive government soldiers. The news went through everybody. So everybody got the news, as well as military got the news. And as you can think about it, when you say that these bad people are unaliving government soldiers, what's kind of message are you transferring to other soldiers? They feel fearful, So that's exactly the reason why the Nigerian government say, you know what? You are spreading false news. Whether it's true or not, it's not for you to spread the news. So thank you very much for being here. Now you're going to be suspended for 3 months. And the suspension for 3 months is just an announce. If you continue doing this way, we're going to suspend you forever or for a long time, like we've done with other outlet. The Nigerian government has suspended BBC for 3 months, accusing it of spreading fake news that could destabilize social peace and demoralize troops fighting jihadists. You don't want to demoralize the troops. Nigerian Minister of Communication, Rali Sulu Muhammad, announced the decision will take effect immediately. What's the program on BBC? The BBC program includes in Hausa. Hausa is the most spoken language in Niger, and French are the broadcast in the country through local radio partners, and they reach out to 2.4 million people. Just imagine telling 2.4 million people that your army is not strong enough because these are the people that are unaliving them really bad. Are you planting courage or fear? So the Nigerian government did not say what was the issue, but in reality, they say apparently, this is BBC explaining, and this has come from the BBC. They say about 91 soldiers were unalive, and Niger doesn't like that. Now, let me put it into perspective for you. Okay, so in Burkina Faso, BBC was also suspended for the very same reason. They like to report about these bad guys, these terror good guys, you know what I'm saying? And they only report about them when those people are doing damage to the country. So in other words, it's a way of saying your army is not very much capable of protecting you. Look at what they're doing to you guys. So these countries stopped them. Burkina Faso suspended them. Mali suspended them. Now Niger also suspending them, saying it's not for you to bring this message across, whether it's truth or not. Now, fellas, we need to understand what's happening here. Malcolm X said something very interesting back in the past. He said the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and make the guilty innocent. And that's power, because they control the mind of the masses. The press is so powerful in its image-making role, it can make the criminal look like a little victim and make the victim look like he is the criminal. Now that's very interesting. It still makes sense today in 2024 after Malcolm X is gone. So, is it important that you stop a news outlet from expressing itself? Is it dictatorship? Is it bad? Is it the beginning of being nasty, as a country, a dictatorial country? Let's check this very quickly. Let me just remind you here, fellas, that you remember RT-TV, the Russian outlet. It used to broadcast all over Europe, right? Well, after the war in Ukraine started, they stopped broadcasting because whatever narrative RT was displaying was not going well with the narrative the Europeans were posting. It was going against each other. And the European, instead of allowing the people to make their own choice as adults, saying, okay, you are adults, you can watch us and you can watch RT and decide whichever you want to watch, they decided for the people by blocking RT from broadcasting in Europe.
In another unprecedented step, we will ban in the European Union the Kremlin's media machine. The state-owned Russia Today and Sputnik, as well as their subsidiaries, will no longer be able to spread their lies to justify Putin's war and to sow division in our union.
And it didn't stop there. RT is blocked from YouTube. RT is blocked from Facebook, from many social media companies.
In addition to imposing sanctions, visa restrictions, and other measures, the State Department also designated the Russian state-funded and directed media company, Rossiya Segodnya, and 5 of its subsidiaries, including RT.
What does that mean? They wanted their narrative to be narrated. You can only listen to us or nothing. I mean, these people think you're so stupid that you cannot think for yourself. You cannot decide for yourself. They have to decide for you. That's how crazy it is. Do you remember in Ukraine, when the war started? In Ukraine, they had some political parties that was a little bit, in the mid-side, saying Russia is not completely wrong. Let's try and find a solution. Well, these parties were shut down from operating. They say, we are at war now. You're going to shut up. We're not going to listen to you anymore.
Будь-яка активність політиків, спрямована на розкол чи на колаборацію, не матиме успіху, але отримає жорстку відповідь. І тому Рада національної безпеки та оборони України вирішила, враховуючи повномасштабну війну, розв'язану Російською Федерацією та зв'язки деяких політичних структур з цією державою, призупиняється будь-яка діяльність низки політичних партій на час воєнного стану, а саме Опозиційна платформа «За життя», партія Шарія, Наші, Опозиційний блок, ліва опозиція, Союз лівих сил, держава, Прогресивно-соціалістична партія України, Соціалістична партія України, партія соціалістів, блок Володимира.
The Church of Orthodox in Ukraine was shut down because the Church of Orthodox was associated with Russia.
The National Security and Defense Council has instructed the government to propose to the parliament a draft law on the prohibition of activities in Ukraine of religious organizations affiliated with the centers of influence in the Russian Federation.
Now, are we going to say these people are dictators because they stopped BBC and France 24 from displaying news that they don't think is going in accord with what they're planning to do? I don't know if you can say that. I mean, if you're going to say these people are dictators, then we should say also that Europe is a dictator too, right? We should be on the same talk and use the same energy. Now, is it okay for you to shut somebody down because they're spreading news that's going to discourage your soldiers? I mean, just think about it. When you say to a soldier that, okay, 91 of your people that's been trained just like you, maybe trained better than you, have been unalived by a group of whatever, what are you planting into that soldier's mind or spirit? Not bravery. Well, some people believe that sometimes when you are in crisis, you need to be able to take decisions that nobody's going to question. It's like they're shooting outside and your child want to go outside. You're going to tell them you're not going outside. Nobody's leaving the house until the gunshots are done. That's a decision the father has to make to protect his family. Now, is maybe the Nigerian government doing the very same for the country? Because BBC does not belong to Niger. They say we stand on our journalism. So whatever we're saying is the truth. Let me give you another example. You know Al Jazeera? Yes, Al Jazeera used to go to Israel and report, tell stories on what's happening in Gaza, right? Do you think Al Jazeera is still in Israel? No, they're not. They came and arrested them and they threw them out.
The army says we have only 10 minutes to take our belongings and leave the office so they can shut it down.
The office will be closed for 45 days.
What is the reason?
The reason is in the statement. You can have a look at it.
Give us a copy of it.
I will keep a copy of the statement with you, and for any concerns or issues, you can go and speak to our military commander at the army headquarters.
Yeah, why? Because whatever Al Jazeera is saying does not go in with whatever they say, and that's their country. So whether you like it or not, they have the right to do it. So is it okay when they do it, but it's not okay when Niger, Burkina Faso or Mali decide to do it? Let me know how you feel about this, fellas. It was a great pleasure. God bless.